it's Marissa. For today's tutorial, I'm going to show you how to make these little rings that I am calling my Petite Zoli Rings. And I'm going to go ahead and put one on. This is my favorite one that I've made so far. And this is how it looks. I'll go ahead and put another one on that I made a little bit bigger so this fits in my middle finger. But this is how they look. This is how they look from the side, and that's how they look. So you can see how they kind of shape to your finger. So, which is how I like my rings. I don't really like them stacked on top. I like them to look like this. So this is how it looks. And here are a couple more that I made. So, for today's project, you are going to need ZoliDuos. You're going to need right and left, 2 of each. 1, 2, 1, 2. You're also going to need 2 IrisDuos per ring. Those are going to go here on the side. You're also going to need some 2x3 Rondelles. And I'm going to use the Rose AB, and you're going to need 2 per ring. The ZoliDuos I'm using are the Jet Copper, and the IrisDuos I'm using are the Aztec Gold. You're also going to need some 15-0s, and I'm going to use 2 different colors. I'm going to use gold, and I'm going to use a lined rose color. Again, these are 15-0s. You're also going to need some 11-0s, and I'm going to use the black bronze. Now for the middle, I made 2 with disc duos. So this silver one and this one I made with disc duos in the middle. And these 2, pardon me, I made with RounTrios. And on this one I use a smooth, and on this one I use the faceted. So even though it looks good with either the disc duos or the RounTrios, I prefer the look with the RounTrios. So I'm going to use RounTrios for today's ring that I'm going to do with y'all also, and I'm going to use the white red luster. You're going to need for the top, we're going to do the top part of our ring first, and then we're going to tie a knot. We're going to tie our knot and cut our thread, and then we're going to do the band after that. So to do the top part of the ring, you're going to need 1 needle and about 2 feet of thread. And I'm going to use the Wildfire beading thread in green, the 0.006, and I'm using a size 10 beading needle. To do my band, we're going to tie off this thread that we use to do the top part of our ring, and then we're going to thread 2 needles. And again, I'm just going to use size 10 beading needles, and I'm going to thread about 18 inches of thread, and that is to do the band, and I'll go over that again when it comes time to do that part. Okay, you're also going to need scissors or something to cut your thread with. I'm going to use a Ultra Thread Zap, and I'm also going to use flat nose pliers just to flatten my thread in to thread my needles. So that's all you're going to need as far as your supplies. And again, these are our little rings. These are just adorable, and they're so much fun to make, and they are so quick. They're so easy. So, and they are beginner friendly, so a beginner, someone new to beading, should not have a problem making this little ring. Okay, so go ahead and get your materials together, and I'll show you what to do first. Okay, so I got little piles of the beads I'm going to use, and I've checked my holes in both my RounTrio my ZoliDuos and my IrisDuos, and everything's good, so we're ready to start. Now go ahead and get 2 feet of thread on one needle, one size 10 or 12 beading needle, and go ahead and put a stop bead towards the end of your thread. I just left about a 2-inch tail. So go ahead and put on your stop bead to keep your beads from falling off. And what I did, this is how your ZoliDuos are going to look around your round trio. Just like this. See, with the puffy part here close to the round trio. So that's how you want to pick them up. So it helps to lay them down like that. So this is what you're going to do once you have your stop bead threaded. Go ahead and pick up your first ZoliDuo, and you're going to pick it up like this, like that, a round trio, and you want an end hole, and then your next ZoliDuo. So you want it to look like this. What you have on your needle needs to look, on your thread needs to look like this. Your ZoliDuo like this, your round trio in the middle, and your other ZoliDuo like this, and let them drop. Now we're going to pick up 3 15-ohs, and then go back around your ZoliDuo. The one you're coming out of, go into the bottom hole, or the thinner part of your ZoliDuo, and pull. And now your thread is coming out in here. So pick up an IrisDuo, go in through your next ZoliDuo through the thin part, and you should have this. This is how it looks. Oop. What you have on your thread should look like this. Now you're coming out of this ZoliDuo, pick up 3 more 15-ohs, go through the other hole of your ZoliDuo, go through your round trio, and if you can catch your next ZoliDuo, do that. If not, if you need to do one at a time, go ahead, but just go through all 3. And this is what you should have. Now, we want to go ahead and do this over here on this side of our round trio, going in through this hole. So we're not going to be using the middle hole at all. Now to get from here to work on this side, now we're going to pick up this part of our ring, our 15-oh, our rondelle, and our 15-oh. And again, these are 2x3 rondelles. So to the beads, the 15-ohs that I'm going to use, that I'm going to use on either side of my rondelle are going to be the gold. On these and on the other rings that I made, I just used the same color 15-ohs for the whole project. But in this one, I'm going to use gold. So it's a 15-oh, rondelle, 15-oh. Now we're going to pick up the beads, the ZoliDuos are going to go on this side. So I have my 15-oh, my rondelle, my 15-oh. Now I'm going to pick up a ZoliDuo like this. Just like that. I'm going to go through the other end hole of my round trio, and I'm going to pull. So this is what I have. And I'm going to pick up my last ZoliDuo like this. And I'm going to let that fall. Now I'm going to add my connecting beads here, which are my 15-oh in the gold, my rondelle, and my next gold 15-0. Let those drop. And then I'm going to go in through this ZoliDuo, that hole on the puffier side. I'm going to go through the RounTrio and through my next ZoliDuo, and I'm going to pull, and I'm just going to kind of hold my stop bead tail. And once I have those connecting beads, I'm going to kind of move my stop bead out of the way too. Once I have those connecting beads, this is what I have. So now I'm coming out of this 15-0 from this ZoliDuo. That's fine, because now I'm going to go through this rondelle right after that 15-0, the next 15-0. I'm going to go through the ZoliDuo here, the RounTrio, out my ZoliDuo, and do not catch the 15-0 this time. So I'm coming out of this ZoliDuo. Now I'm going to pick up 3 more 15-0s in my first color, which is this lined rose. I'm going to go through this ZoliDuo, through the thin part. I'm going to pull. I'm going to pick up my next and last IrisDuo, and make sure that your puffy side is the side up. And then I'm going to go through this ZoliDuo now, through the thin part, and I'm going to pull. So that will put that IrisDuo there in place. And I'm going to put my 15-0s in my rose colored, my lined rose, on this side of this ZoliDuo. So I'm coming out of this hole of my ZoliDuo. I'm going to hop on up and go through this hole, and go through again all of your beads there, your RounTrio. And if you can catch that ZoliDuo after it, go ahead. If you can't, just go ahead and do it now. So I'm coming out of my ZoliDuo now. So this is what you should have. So we're almost done with the top part of our ring. So I'm coming out of this ZoliDuo. I'm going to go down these 3 15-0s. Now I need to add more 15-0s here. So I'm going to do 4 more. I'm going to add 4, and then I'm going to go through this hole of my IrisDuo and pull. Now I'm going to do the same over here. I'm going to add 4 more 15-0s. I'm going to go up these 3 already, these 3 15-0s that are there on my piece already. I'm going to pull, and then now I need to connect these to this little grouping here, a 15-0, rondelle 15-0. For that part, I'm going to add 2, and I'm going to go through the grouping here, a 15-0, rondelle 15-0. And just only the 15-0 on the other side of your rondelle. Because now I'm coming out of that 15-0 on the other side of my rondelle. I'm going to add 2 more 15-0s. And I'm going to go down this grouping of 3 15-0s. Now I'm going to add, now I need to connect these to the iris and go down the second hole of my IrisDuo, the one that has nothing in it. And I'm going to add 4, and I'm going to go through this hole of my IrisDuo. Move my tail out of the way. And now over here on this side, I'm going to do the same thing that I did over here. I'm going to add 4 15-0s. And I'm going to go through here, through these 15-0s. And I'm coming out of these 15-0s. I'm going to add 2 more because I need to connect to the grouping here of 15-0, rondelle 15-0. So I picked up the 2, and now I'm connecting. And now I need to pick up 2 more here to connect this grouping to these. So I'm going to pick up 2 more. And I'm going to connect here to these, and then go down. I'm going to pull. So this is how the top of our ring is going to look. Well, not exactly like this because your IrisDuos are not going to be sticking out like this. They're going to go like this to the side, just how they do here on my ring. So something like this. Okay. So now we want to meet up with this string here so we can tie a knot. So we're going to have to sew through. We're coming out here. Whoops. Go through the IrisDuo, and if you catch the 15 rows on the other side, that's fine. Go through all of them, all around your piece. Like this. And I'm be sure you get all of them. You don't skip any. And these three here. And it's good because it reinforces this part. Now I'm almost here. Now I want to meet, I can take off my stop bead now so I can see better. I want to meet right where the string is coming out. That way when I tie the knot, it's not like over here or over here. It's just right in front of where that string is coming out of my ZoliDuo. So I'm going to go ahead and come out here. In other words, I'm going to go through all of these 15 rows except for the last two, which will be one of my rows and my gold. So there, I left two. I left two open, and that meets my thread pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and tie the knot there. And as you can see, we still have plenty of thread left, so you can probably do this with just 1.5 feet of thread. I cut close to 2 feet, so you won't need that much then. You won't need the 2 feet. So I'm going to tie a knot and kind of make sure that you force your knot to the back. Don't let it stay to the side. You want it to the back. So just move your string to the back like that. And I'm going to tie my knot again. And I'm pulling hard, and my knot is in the back because you don't want it showing. Now I'm going to burn this thread, and I'm probably not going to get it that close because I have to have it right really close to me, and I can't do that on camera without burning myself. Okay, so this is the top of our ring. Pretty fast, pretty easy. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to thread another 18 inches of thread on my needle. And I'm going to get a second needle because our band is going to be done with 2 needles. Because we're going to do a bunch of little right angle weave units, and it just comes out better if you do it with 2 needles instead of 1. Well, if you're really good with right angle weave to where you have the patience to put on your beads and make your little box, and then to reinforce it, you just go through each little bead one at a time. Then you can probably do this next part with 1 needle. But when I did it, I don't have that kind of patience to, when I reinforce my little right angle weave units, to go through 1 bead individually. So for me, it's easier just to do it, it's easier just to do it with 2 needles. That way, if I do it quick and I don't feel like taking my time, I still come out with a good band. So here we go. I threaded my 2 needles. I'm just going to leave a little bit of tail at the end. Now, for this part, I am going to use just a few. I don't know if I'm going to stay with the bronze on this part, but I'm going to try it. If I don't like it, I'll just go with gold, but let me see how it looks. Okay, so I have my 18 inches of thread on 2 needles. My tails are the same. Now you're going to go through, doesn't matter which one, but one of your IrisDuos, the bottom hole. And I'm referring to this hole as my bottom hole. And hold your needles and pull and center your piece so that you have equal amounts of thread. Now, for this part, see, we're going to do this part right here. So we need to pick up. And I think I'm going to use my gold 15-0s again. So a gold 15-0 on each needle. Let them drop. And then now we need an 11-0 on each needle. Let those drop. Pick up another 11-0 and cross through it. Now, I said I wasn't sure I was going to stay with the bronze, so let's see how it looks. See, I really won't see that, but I kind of like it, so I'm going to keep it. Okay, so for that part, I will keep it like that, and I'm just going to, once you have them, just pull your needles again to make sure that you have equal amounts of thread. Okay, so now for this part, we're going to do a bunch of little units, little boxes. So I'm coming out of my middle here, that middle bead that we crossed through. Whoops, I don't need that many. And now I'm going to do this next step. I'm going to do 1 11-0 on each needle. Let them drop. One more 11-0 and cross through it. So I'm going to do a bunch of these little units like that, little boxes like that, all the way the length of my finger. Now for this ring, I use 2 colors because I think it's more fun that way, but you can just do 1, or you can do 2, you can even do 3. But I'm just going to stick with 2. I'm going to use bronze, and I am going to use gold, but that's going to be on the next step when I fill in. See where I have my purples? Where I fill in my little units. So for this step, it's just going to be 1 11 on my left, 1 11 on my right, let it drop. One more 11-0 and cross through that like this. So I'm going to do this the whole length of my finger. And I know that for mine, and mine's about a size 5, I had to do, and this is how I know how many I do, because I count all of my middle beads, my middle 11-0s where I cross through, and I know I have 11 on mine. So that's how I know when it's at the length that I want. So go ahead and do this for the length that you need, and I'll meet you back and show you what to do next. Okay, so what you want to do now, this, I've completed the, this part, and this is the length that I need for my finger. Now when you have the length that you want, go ahead and end it at one of your beads where you're crossing out of. So you want to be coming out of the same 11-0, but with your one needle coming this side and your other needle in the opposite direction. So now what we're going to do, we're going to connect to our other IrisDuo. So now you need to pick up again, and I did the brown. I'm going to pick up on each needle an 11-0, 11 on my left, 11 on my right, a 15-0, the same color that I used on, I had already put my 15-0s away, the same color that I used on the other side right before I did my band, which was gold. So I'm going to pick up a gold 15-0 on each needle. And now we're ready to go through our IrisDuo on the other side. And just through the IrisDuo, do not catch the 15-0s on the other side. I'm not going to pull it tight yet until I have both of my needles coming out. And now I'm going to pull it tight. So this is what you have. Now, turn your work around. Go through your 15-0 and your 11-0 that you just added, like that. Your 15-0 and 11-0, and pull and pull them both so that they're good. Now these beads here, just make sure everything is sitting the way it should, because now what we're going to do, we're going to fill in all of these spaces here in between these 11-0s on both sides. We're no longer going to be crossing through anything. We're just going to go straight down. So you've gone through on both sides, your 15-0 and your 11-0 that you just added, both on your left and on your right. Now let's start filling in by picking up an 11-0, and I'm going to use gold, and going through your next 11-0 in line, all the way down. Now, for this part, it's pretty quick, but don't get too ahead of yourself. Do like 3, maybe 4, and then switch, because then you're gonna end up with a funky looking ring band. So, I mean, you might not, but especially if you know how to work it by not pulling super tight. And on this part, you don't want to pull super tight. You just want to get them in there. That's a big bead. Okay. You just want to get them in there, and then at the end, we'll pull them tight. Because if you pull too much on one side, you're going to have a weird looking band. And I've done that, and I don't like it, although nobody sees the band but me. Just knowing that it looks like that kind of bothers me. So I try to avoid that by just being as careful as I can. I'm going to go through all of them, not at once on one side, but I'm going to go through all of them eventually. Picked up 3 or 4, I think, and then I switched, and I think I used just the right amount of thread this time for this part. I know for the top part I probably used a little bit too much. So do a few more on this side because I've already caught up. This is the easy part. And filling in is always fun. Embellishing your last steps, those are always fun. See, if you do, see, I'm not pulling it tight. I'm just pulling them in there. But if you don't, you can end up with a band that looks like, kind of like that. So, just keep doing how you're doing it with a few, maybe 4. And just pulling them just to get them in there, not pulling them super tight. Just pulling them to where there's no thread showing, but not to where it's pulling just to one side. So this really is a quick and very easy ring. And it's really cute. These ZoliDuos, these IrisDuos, these are just so much fun to play with. Endless, endless possibilities. And so many colors. Gorgeous, gorgeous colors. Okay, so we're almost done. We're almost done. I just need one more here, and then I'm going to go up these, the 11-0 and the 15-0. And now I do want to kind of pull on both. If you can pull them both at the same time, because you want your band to look the same. And I did add a little bit more 11-0s on this ring than I did on this ring, because these are very, very small. So I want this one to be a little bit bigger. Okay, so I got it the way I want it. Keep pulling if you want. And now I'm going to go through my IrisDuo, and I'm mating my threads. So I'm gonna tie a knot. Now with my other rings, what I did was I didn't do that. I just put one needle going this way, my right needle going in this way, coming out on my left side, and I just went down and did half hitch knots, but I'm not going to do that right now. If you want to do that, you can do that, but you don't have to. This is a pretty sturdy ring. So what I am going to do is take off my needles, and I'm going to tie my knot. And now you do want to pull hard, because this is your knot. This is what's going to finish your whole project. So one more time. Tying it, tying it, tying it. And I'm done. And I want to kind of pull that again. So I'm just going to pull my threads in through here. And then kind of see if I can, get that out of the way. And now I'm going to burn it, and I might not be in frame because I need really, well, no, I think I can do it. Okay. So this is our final, this is our result. This is what we got. This cute little ring, and see how it sits up all by itself? I like that. I like a sturdy ring. I do need to burn my threads a little bit more, but like I said, on camera I can't see that good. I really need to have it just right there by my eyes, because it's too far and I'll burn myself if I try to get it any closer. So, but anyway, that's the only thing I have to do left, but it's done. This is our little ring. And it's very cute, and this is what I have. And this is our little, I can't remember what I call this. I know I said at the beginning of the video, but it's our little ZoliDuo ring. I can't remember what I called it. But I did say it at the beginning of the video. But anyway, this is our ring. Pretty fast, pretty simple, and pretty cute. I hope you enjoyed making it, and thank you very much for watching.